Hey everyone, welcome to another Pianote live lesson.
Hey man.
What a cool song.
Oh, thanks mate.
So cool. So that's like funk pop play along? Is that what you're kind of calling
That's
that?
what we're calling this lesson here, yeah. So I've been messing around with this little production. As I was just writing that little tune and kind of finding different ways to play around with the drums and bass and add some keys parts to it, I just started to really realize how easy and fun it is to just kind of make minimal little keys parts to a kind of a synthy pop song.
Yeah.
So in this lesson, we're going to be looking at we're going to learn this song, and we're going to sort of take a look at what the structure of this song is and how you can sort of build your choruses and use your bridges to kind of make give your song some push and pull, and I'm just going to sort of demonstrate like how you can just use simple rhythms to play your piano part kind of percussively, and you don't have to like think so much about all this like complicated arpeggiated stuff or whatever. Right. You can just kind of hammer things out, and you get a surprising amount of mileage out of it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now, is this something that members can download and play along to?
Yeah, so I'm going to put this this track in the members area once it hits the archive. So anyone who's a Pianote member can totally download this and play around with it. I'm going to show in this lesson some different avenues to mess around with it as well, and yeah.
Okay, very cool. Well, let's jump into it then.
Cool. And before we do, I just want to say, anyone who's got questions, you can just hit the Ask a Question button and we'll answer them on stream. But first, let's take a look at what this song's all about. So the song is in the key of B minor. I do have some really, really simple sheet music that you can also take a look at as well. Yeah, the song is in the key of B minor, which means it's got two sharps. It's got F sharp and C sharp. There is a few accidentals, which means that's a black key that does not regularly appear within the key of the song, and those do appear in this song from time to time. The main one I'm thinking of is G sharp. So the first verse progression that we're going to look at starts on a B minor 7 chord. So I'm just playing a full B minor 7 in the left hand, and because I'm filling things out a lot in my left hand in this song, I like to just let my right hand kind of be more sparse, give it some more room to breathe. So my left hand voices every single note. My right hand is just voicing D and A. And you can sort of see the, if you have the sheet music up, you can see the rhythmic pattern that, that makes this whole track work. So I'll just show you, I'll just kind of show you like how this beat works. The three chords that we're going to be using are B minor, and then we're going to play an A major 7, a D flat minor 7, and then back to our B minor. And the way the rhythm works is we have a our first bars, that first B minor chord, just a whole note. The second bar has a, we hold this A minor 7, or sorry, A major 7 for a, it's a dotted quarter note. Then we have two chords, and we have this little push. I'll show you what I'm talking about with the metronome here. So here's that progression. Okay. So it's kind of like this got this like little like kind of hoppy skip jump feel with that little chord movement before it lands back on the on that root chord.
Right. Right.
Yeah, and again, you can play that as simple as you want, or if you want to like flesh it out a little more, you can always play with different inversions. You can kind of make little melodies out of the chord tones that you're using. So the way I just demoed it was, pretty much just your solid chords that you're kind of playing in the rhythm of the track. But because this isn't, always an opportunity to just explore and make your own kind of ideas up, you could try playing like a... There's all sorts of like cool ways that you can sort of surprise yourself at how good you are, because all you're really having to think about when you want to improvise within each chord shape is what are the tones that you're actually playing in that chord. You can keep things as simple as that. So if I'm playing my B minor 7 chord, the only notes that I really have to worry about are, like I have 4 notes that I can just play around with and I know I'm going to be safe. I can just... you don't have to, sometimes when you get into this world of improvisation and you start to go, oh man, where do you even begin? And like, where's the fence? You can get inside this mentality where it's like, oh, I have all 88 keys to play. I have no idea what the right one is.
Yeah.
I have no idea what like the right, avenue is. So my advice for anyone out there who wants to take a track like this, use it as a springboard for some more personal experimentation. Start really, really small and really, really simple, and just work within the tones that you have sort of laid out for you as the chords have laid them out for you.
Right.
Right?
Right. Totally.
Yeah. So I am going to. Let's see. I am going to start from the first main part of the bridge, and now we're going to just look at what this, how this whole part works with the track here. Okay. So here it comes. There's that major 7, your root note, A, D flat, B, and you're pushing every B. And your last time. And now we get to the chorus, which has a slightly different set of chords. The chorus goes like this. It goes G, and then it goes to the relative minor of G, which is E minor. And then it has this little kind of riffy hook thing, which goes from an F sharp minor 7 to your 1 chord, to your B minor chord. So it goes G, E minor 7, then again. So I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Then back to the verse. verse. So that's actually a really short chorus,
Right.
which I'm going to get to in just a minute when we talk about the whole structure of the song. I don't know, like you're a songwriter. Do you ever do that kind of little trick where you like tease the chorus a little bit for the first time, and then you make it a big one in the second chorus?
You know what? Yes and no. I think it definitely depends on the song and kind of how it's coming together.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. It's tough because I work a lot more with songs where there's lyrics and stuff as well. So sometimes I think you have to be a little bit more privy to what people are used to hearing, which they like to get to that hook pretty quick, right?
You want to get to the hook pretty quick, rather than it be this kind of like tease thing.
Exactly.
All right, well, okay, so the jury's out on the early chorus. But I think it's a great way to kind of build that anticipation.
For sure.
So we'll take it from this, we'll take it from that first chorus. We're going to go through the second verse now. Also just going to make a few quick adjustments here so it's not quite so crackly. So we're going to get through this first chorus, which is a nice short one. It ends on this. It ends on that F sharp chord, and it holds for 2 bars. And what I like to do, like you could either just play it super simple, literally just hold these as whole notes, or you can do some kind of cool, like broken triad inversions going up, or you can kind of mess around with it. Just bear in mind that you have that you're working within the key of B minor, and you do have that one accidental note. You have that one G sharp note. So I guess you can consider this to be in the key of A, but I just find that sort of confusing because your root note is, your tonal center is definitely B.
Yeah.
So we're going to get through the second verse, and then we're going to go to the big chorus. It's going to be twice as long, and yeah, we're going to see how that feels. So here it comes. Yeah, so that's just a trick that I like to use. If anyone is out there into songwriting themselves or into production and just likes to make arrangements of songs, try that one out. Try giving yourself a first verse, a nice kind of like chill first verse, and then if you have a chorus, try to just try, and if that chorus has like a new melodic kind of little piece that it adds to the pie, try like getting to that melodic piece in that first chorus and then just cutting out and getting back to the second verse. Because for me, as a listener, I like that kind of like, oh man, because that's definitely coming back in. There's no way they're done with that. But it's just kind of cool to have that, yeah, just to be teased like that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it's something you don't really hear a lot, and maybe that's one of the reasons why I've never really thought about doing too much of that. So
it's cool.
Maybe I might try it out.
It's cool.
Yeah.
I'll make you a playlist of the teaser choruses.
There you go.
Teaser first choruses.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. So because that way when you do get to the second chorus, it's like, oh man, there it is. That's what we were waiting for. And this is like this song's I think like 3 minutes long or something. So everything's it's a pretty like compact little arrangement. Obviously, if you want to make a bigger tune out of something, you have more room to kind of stretch out and take your time. So after we get to that second chorus, we then get to this bridge section. And the bridge section is kind of an oddball. So again, I'm just going to go back to the metronome here and demonstrate what's going on with it. Also, let's see if you do have your the sheet music available, you'll find that the bridge starts at just at the very end of bar 56. You can see that kind of how it works. Every single chord is anticipated in the beat here. So our chords are actually quite simple. The first two chords are, we play a D and then a G, and then you play, I'm just playing a sus2, so that means I'm playing A, B, and E, and then my root note is just walking up from G to A. So I go D, G, and then I do this sus2 chord, and then I do it again, and now I play B minor, A, and then I sort of repeat that whole process, but in order to help build, that flow on the piano, I open up the chords a little bit and I play bigger octaves, or I move up an inversion to help kind of brighten the sound. So now, rather than being down here, for the second repetition of this bridge, I'm up here. And then I go. So it's all those same chords, and you can see them again written out in a really simple fashion just on the sheet music. But you can use the sheet music as the guidelines, but you can also just think to yourself, okay, so those are the chords as written, but every chord has a ton of different inversions, a ton of different ways to voice them. So if you've been messing around with your chord inversions as you practice, use it as an opportunity to try different ways of approaching these progressions in this song here. So I'll show you how the whole thing works here with just the metronome. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll play that one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's kind of got this ba ba da da. Every beat kind of goes just before the one. Mm-hmm. Which I think it's cool. I think that's I guess I don't know. For me as a listener and as a musician, I like doing things that kind of they come a little early or they come a little late. Yeah. Like from what your traditional expectation is. Yeah. I just find it's like, oh, it's just sort of exciting. It's like, oh, it catches you off guard every time.
Yeah. And in this case, it kind of almost adds a little bit of a bounce too, which is cool.
Yeah, it changes the pulse a bit. Yeah. So let's go. We're gonna go through the second chorus again, and then we're gonna go right into that bridge. back at the for the final chorus of the song there. So the bridge is just kind of this quick little rhythmic change. It's like typically if you're if you're into songwriting, the bridge section of a song is meant to be this kind of it's a bit of a breath away from the main feel of the song, or it just adds something different. And you're not really meant to stay on it for that long. I suppose it's just meant to, you know, bridge the gap, right?
Yeah, right.
And then get back to the main thing that you just want to listen to, the catchiest element of the song, which is ideally the chorus. Would you say?
It would be. Yeah. Yeah. You try to make that the
Try
chorus.
to. Yeah. Excuse me. Okay. Sorry. So we're going to go to the bridge one more time, and then we're going to go play one final version of that chorus, and then we're out.
Sweet.
Yeah. Sorry, this time of year.
Everybody's getting sick.
I got frogs in the throat, like all over, man. Okay, here we go. Yeah.
Nice.
So that's the tune. So it's all kind of based around this. That as far as like a little melody that you kind of sing.
Like the hook. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely the hook, right?
Yeah.
So you see kind of what I'm talking about in the full context, how having a shorter chorus can kind of give you that delayed gratification.
Yeah.
For when it does finally come in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool little trick and something I think most people don't always think of because we're so used to the type of music where it's like, oh, just get to the full chorus right away as soon as possible.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's very neat.
Well, it's always interesting, and this might be a lesson for another time, but like when you have all this music out there now that structurally, compositionally, the chorus and the verse, they're using the same chord progressions. There's so many, and there's so many progressions out there that just work in so many different dynamic levels, louds and softs, that you can build a whole song out of like 4 chords.
Yeah.
And so that's like the kind of other end of the spectrum where you don't have to do, if it works, just keep going with it, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
As an example, I'm pretty sure Justin Bieber's last album, almost every hit off of that was the same chord progression and almost the same dynamic feel through the whole song.
Really, the exact same chord progression.
Interesting, right?
Like, as in, like from song to song.
No.
Okay.
No, every single song. It was just one big song.
Yeah.
No, each song was individually like that, but they would take one song and one idea, and it would just be verse and chorus and a bridge.
Yeah.
And that was it every time.
Yeah.
And I guess that works if you're into that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it can work. I think you just have to, again, that's when the importance of melody comes in.
Yeah.
Because, you know, melody is obviously what your ear is mostly anchoring onto.
Of course.
Oh, man. Okay. So, now that we've looked at it like that, let's actually check if we've got any questions.
Yeah, you ready for questions? Let's do it.
Let's give me a chance to clear my throat here.
Okay, here's a question. Are B and B flat minor more suitable for pop songs than other tones?
Sorry, what was it?
As you're coughing away. Yeah. No, that's not good. Are B and B flat minor more suitable for pop songs than other tones?
Okay, I got it. All right, I'm good.
You're gonna survive this one.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. Are B and D?
B and B flat minor.
Oh.
More suitable for pop songs than other tones.
I think that depends on. I think that depends mostly on like if you're a vocalist, what key you sing in.
Yeah. It sounds like you're dying over there.
All right, there it is. I got it.
Nice.
Yeah. Whew. Okay. So yeah, what key you sing in, that'll depend on. Oh man.
Might not make it through this one. I mean, I'll give some of the stuff that I've thought of. It's going to depend a lot on the singer. The key itself doesn't necessarily change because everything is basically in one big circle all the time, depending on the key that you're in.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's just going to be relative to where the singer's comfortable.
Yeah.
So a lot of times what you'll hear is, and a good example of this, just because this is the one off the top of my head, and they're not really a piano band, they are, but not really, but Mumford & Sons is a good example.
Yeah.
If you listen to any of their albums, 80% of the songs will be in the same key. And if I remember correctly, it's C or D. It's one of those two keys, which would also be like B minor or A minor.
Yeah.
So they would be in one of those two because for them, it's where the vocalist is the most comfortable singing those songs.
Yeah.
And the same can be said for any other type of song. If you were to play this tune in, you said it's B minor, right? It's kind of like the main tonal center.
Yeah.
And we were to play the exact same tune in, say, G minor, right? Which is a pretty big jump away.
Yeah.
If you didn't hear them next to each other, most people, you probably wouldn't tell the difference.
Right.
Some instruments, like especially, I mean, it's the same for every instrument, but some instruments, like especially guitar, it's like the actual octave you're in changes the way the instrument sounds a lot.
Yeah.
Piano, it's pretty consistent,
Yeah.
I would say. So if you're playing in those two keys, it's going to sound, unless you're doing different voicings, it's going to sound mostly the same.
Yeah, I would totally agree.
Yeah.
I would totally agree. I think that it also, it just sort of comes down to like what you feel inspired by at the time of writing a song. You know?
Totally.
There is no reason why I picked this song to be in the key of B minor, other than the fact that that's probably just the world I was in as I was playing.
Right.
So yeah, I hope that answers your question in a delayed fashion. It almost killed me, but we got there. Thank you, Andrew, for
no problem.
picking up that slack there.
No problem at all. I'm trying to remember. I remember one time hearing somebody say that there's a specific key that almost every pop song is written in, but I can't remember. I would say worry more about the chord progression and like the scale degrees or like which chords they are within the key.
Yeah.
Worry more about that and less about which key you're actually in.
Yeah.
And kind of pick the key to suit either your voice or just how you're feeling. Sometimes it's like, oh, like as a guitar player, I love the key of B minor because of where it is on the fretboard. It's very comfy.
Yeah.
And thusly, my band writes a lot of songs in B minor just for that reason and no other reason, right?
Yeah.
One of those kind of things.
Totally.
I don't see any other questions in here.
All right. Well, I can. If there's no others for the moment, then I can totally move on to what we got a little bit more to talk about here.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So the last thing that I kind of want to address with this lesson here is how to use a backing track as effectively and as versatilely as possible. Because what I've given you, or what I am going to give you with this backing track is literally it's just like drums, a little bit of like auxiliary kind of percussion, and then a very, very sparse little bass line.
Yeah.
So all the melodic and chordal information, that's all up to you to play. And because of that, you can play it sort of as I have it written out here on the in the sheet music, or you can recognize that, oh, we're in the key of B minor. I can listen to the root notes as they're played in the bass, and I can kind of make my own part up. And that's when like you can take your playing from down here, move it up high, and now you have a whole different feel. It could be as simple as that. It could be like just simple little. know, like it's really simple stuff. So I'm just going to show the verse progression again. But this time, rather than playing down here, I'm going to move up here. And we're going to see how that all sounds. I've devolved down into like the morning talk radio voice.
I know. It sounds very sultry.
Oh, thank you, sir. It's safer this way. Otherwise, I'll try to avoid the coughing fit. Whatever kind of comes to me, I'm just sort of using it, right? You know, or you can use it for like pentatonic blues or something like that, and kind of make a little solo out of it.
Yeah,
all sorts of stuff. Like I know you've over at Guitario, you've kind of done some backing track kind of experimentation stuff as well, right?
Definitely, it's cool because it's one of those things like depending on maybe not only where your skills are at, but also like how you approach your instrument.
Yeah.
Just the way you play that one instrument can take the track in a million different directions.
Totally.
And even the speed at which you play the notes, in what octave you play the notes and stuff like that, where you accent like some of those pushes, or you let maybe the bass push and you don't push, and you kind of accent it in a different way, all those things will really change the feel of the song.
Yeah.
Right? And if you get more floaty with some of your melodies and stuff like that, all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's kind of not such a funk thing. Now it's kind of going in this different direction.
Yeah, it got this like ambient kind of vibe to it.
Exactly.
Totally.
Exactly. And that's something that you can eventually also be taking into a band setting if you want to write your own songs with other musicians or start putting together your own compositions, kind of like how you did, depending on what you want to do. You're building the song at every single step of the way. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. You know, I think it's like one of the coolest things about modern music now and the technology that we have available to us is that we don't have to worry so much about what the definitive version of a song is, because it's so easy to record and it's so easy to put together a backing track. You don't have to be like, oh, okay, we already laid that down to tape or whatever. We already printed a CD out. Like everything's digital. GarageBand's like it's literally free, right?
Free, or if you don't have it, I think it's $10.
Okay, it's $10. Like you can get recording, especially like if you have a keyboard at home. You've in all likelihood got like MIDI outputs for it, so you can plug into your computer and record it and sort of mess around and make music and kind of just keep on using that as a cornerstone of your own progress as a musician. You know?
And one of the things like you just mentioned there, it's like most keyboards have a MIDI capable thing. That's one thing that guitar obviously doesn't have. It's a lot harder to get into recording yourself. But it's such an important like integral part of growing and being creative. It's cool because literally if you just have the MIDI in and out, not even a USB, you can get an adapter that's $10. And I know for there's a lot of people who use Windows, so they obviously can't use GarageBand.
I'm sure there's got to be a similar.
You can, I mean, I know like FL Studio is relatively cheap. I know there's lots of other ones, but do some research. Reaper is another one that's fairly affordable and a lot of people are using. But just like basic stuff like that, even entry level like stripped down versions. Plug in, kind of learn the software and start recording. It's pretty easy for piano. It's pretty cool.
It's super easy. If you're a keyboard player, you're totally set up for it. It's the best instrument to get into it.
Absolutely, big advantage.
All right, well, I'm going to play one last playthrough of this track with the kind of a chiller version, just to demonstrate some other avenues. If there's no more questions, then yeah, this will be it for the lesson. And if anyone has any questions about it, just totally send me an email. As I said, once we get this lesson on the archive at Pianote, I will also have this backing track for you to take and enjoy and take in whatever direction you want to. So thanks so much.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, all right.